So how's it going, my Comic Chat Army? We're here today with Travis Gibbs, the creator of Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. Let's see. What am I missing?
Voodoo Nations, Expired,
Yeah.
Parallels, all sorts of cool stuff. What else? Like Holiday Spirits we just did, all sorts of cool stuff. And most recently, Granite Punk.
Nice. So when is you got a Kickstarter out right now?
Yeah. It's our most successful single issue Kickstarter we've ever done, which is really, really cool. It's called Granite Punk. It's about this guy named Zeke. He's a recovering alcoholic. He just got out of prison for drug and alcohol abuse. He gets house arrest and he's staying at his his dead parents' house. And as he finds out, he realizes he's been drinking to block out some memories in his life. And he finds out that he may be related to a coven of witches, which is a really cool thing. It's set in New Hampshire, which is where I'm from. We have the Old Man of the Mount, which is like basically the icon of New Hampshire. And we kind of tell a fictional story about the old man and what it's all about. So it's kind of a cool book. Nice.
Yeah, I'm about to check that out. I like that.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's my best art that I've ever paid for. It's a one shot, which is cool. And it's killing it, man. I mean, we have 309 backers. We're over $8,000. We're going to. We got 5 days left at this time, and we're gonna hit 10, which is crazy on a single issue. That's just crazy.
Nice. Let's see. Where can people get all your other books? Do you have a website?
You can go to brokedownin4deadbodies.com. We're all on Comicchatauthority, so if you want to go on Amazon, you can get it there. We are revamping our website. It should be up by the end of the month, and that's going to be at orangeconeproductions.com, where you can get all of our stuff. But I mean, we've got, you get a lot of our books. We've got a busy schedule this year. So we've got, let me look at my board here. We got Granite Punk in January. This month we got Tales of the Collective, which is a book that we do for a comic store out in Orlando. We've got Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, the sequel to Cthulhu Invades Oz. We got Voodoo Nations 3 in May. Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies trade paperback, which has 20 extra pages. Nice. We have Pop Van Winkle, which is a new book that my wife's doing under our studio. I have a secret project in October that I'm not telling anybody about. And then we have Holiday Spirits too. So that's what we have. That's just for me. And as you know, I work with a lot of other people. So I've got tons of anthologies and single issues coming out through other publishers. So it's super exciting. And that's not even counting Expired 2. Expired 2 will come out at some point.
So with your secret project, where can we get news about that when you talk about it more?
I don't think I'm gonna, to be honest. I think it's gonna just launch. I think I'm gonna keep it very quiet until October and just launch it. I'm not going to talk about it. I take that back. I do have a Substack. Are you familiar with Substack?
I'm not.
So at the end of last year, Substack was formed, and it took a lot of the big name creators like Donny Cates, Scott Snyder, Jonathan Hickman, Chip Zdarsky, all these really good creators, and they joined a thing called Substack. And what Substack is, it's a email list where they kind of email you, but there's paid subscriptions, so you can get a paid subscription to it. So for Donny Cates, if you get the paid subscription, you get access to his new comic coming out in like a couple of YouTubes. If you do Scott Snyder, he's going to give you a class. If you go Chip Zdarsky, he's going to give you interviews. Like I just watched an interview with him and all the other Daredevil creators, and they all talked about their Daredevil runs, which was super interesting. And this is like exclusive content for it. I decided to jump ship and go over there as well. So with mine, there's a free level where you just get information about my comics. But if you get the paid subscription, we're going to make a comic together, which is pretty cool. So I pitched like 5 ideas to people, and they're voting on which comic to do. And then we're going to go from there. We're going to pick the artists together. We're going to pick the team together. We're going to name the characters. We're going to go through the whole process from beginning to end. And it's as cheap as $5 a month. So you get a lot of value for that. In that, you'll also get some of the secret projects that I'm working on. So it'll probably be announced there for those guys.
Has that ever been done before?
Like having someone be part of that process for comics? Not that I know of. I'm sure someone's had it on some level, but I'm going deep. Like they're going to pick my artists. They're going to pick if I kickstart it or if I put it on Indiegogo or if I just push it to publishers. They're going to decide the whole thing via votes.
Wow, that's cool.
It's pretty fun. We've been having a lot of fun with it, and there's some great ideas with it. If you don't, I can tell you the ideas if you want that they can vote for. So one of them is called Break. Break is a story about a guy who's walking on the beach and he gets basically $10 million worth of cocaine that runs up. And instead of reporting it to the police, he actually takes it and runs a drug empire, but he has no idea what he's doing. He finds out that drugs may not have been so secret and that he's now involved with a group of gypsies who are trying to take him out, who've come into the area. So it's called Break, based on spring break, where gypsies come down during spring break and rob a whole bunch of people. So that's kind of what it's about. The other one is a sequel to Broke Down and Four Dead Bodies, called Broke Down and Tapped Out. That's a story about, imagine Hulk Hogan, right? You can get him for a match because he owes you a favor, but you owe so much money that it's going to be really hard to pay him and to pay all your guys. You're in debt. You owe a gangster, Mr. Washington in this case. So you decide that you're going to kill Hulk Hogan and you're going to videotape it live and sell the video. And that's how you're going to make all the money back. So that's what it's about. Then the other one is The World Ends. I don't know if you've ever heard this theory. There's an internet theory that we all died in 2012. Like the whole world ended in 2012. Have you seen that theory?
Yeah.
Gone down that rabbit hole?
Yeah.
So I'm going to write that book. I'm going to write The World Ended in 2012, and it's about a bunch of hackers that are trying to prove that it ended in 2012 and get sucked into this alternate world of hacking and conspiracy theories. I think it would be a lot of fun. And then the last one is called Too Much PC. And what Too Much PC is about, it's about a kid who's addicted to role-playing games. He takes a past lives experiment, and all of his role-playing characters come to life in the real world, and they're all doing evil things, and he has to deal with how he was as a person, because if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you started as a kid, right? So your goal may have been, I want to do chicks, like fictional chicks and this and that, and then, or I want to be an evil guy, so you're murdering everybody. Now you have to deal with the repercussions of how crappy you made these characters because they're in the real world, and he has to deal with that. So that's called Too Much PC. So yeah, they're voting on that right now and deciding which comic we're going to make, and next month, we're going to pick our team and we're going to write the script, and they're going to give me feedback on the script and be part of the whole process.
How long is the process going to take from beginning to end?
It's a year. So it's an issue in a year. So we're going to do it all. So, number one is picking the project. Number two is the script and finalizing the script in a month. Then we're going to make the logo, hire the artist, hire the colorist. Every month we'll have different goals that we'll do. And then the book will be out by the end of the year.
Okay. The people that voted, do they get a copy of the book at the end?
So if you're a paid subscription, you do get a free copy, but it's not like free that I'm going to send it to you. If you back what Kickstarter or whatever the case would be, you get a free cover. So like in Granite State Punk, people will get a free cover of Granite State Punk that's exclusive to those people. And I'm talking, I have like 10 people, so it's not like I'm making tons of money. So it's going to be a cover for 10 people, which is really super rare and really, really cool. So they're going to get that, but they also get producers credits. So I'm going to make a new credit in my credit book, and they're producers of the book.
Nice. That's so cool. And where can people join this at?
So it's Substack. Hold on, let me see what it is. That's a great question. I don't know that off the top of my head. TravisGibb.substack.com.
Okay. And the collective, I know they do a lot for the indie community.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever, or have you ever partnered with them? I know you.
Yeah. So we did Tales of Collective last year, which is the first one, which had an exclusive Voodoo Nation story in it, an exclusive Capable story. I know you're a fan of Capable.
Yeah.
Final Growth, which is a book by a guy from Mad Cave who did Savage Bastards. His name is David Galliano. And then we had, what was the other one? Wendy Gale, Chuck Pino's wife, has a story for her book, Viserion Tales, in it. So we did a one-shot for their store exclusively for last year that came out that. And then we're doing another one this year that has some really cool stuff.
The only way we can get it is through the store, right?
Through the store, and then they do a Kickstarter too. So they do a small Kickstarter to do it, but it's very, very small. They're not trying to raise a lot of money. They don't run it for a lot of days because it's really just a secondary stuff.
I didn't know that you could shorten a Kickstarter. I thought like you had to do it for 30 days.
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, most people don't do it for 30 days. Most people do it less. I actually do it for less, unless it's like a big one, like Cthulhu Invades Oz. Those are big, so you got to do those big. And then Granite State Punk I did for 30 days, but I wish I had it for 18. I wish 30 days is too much, man. It's too much. It's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, a lot of people tell me about it.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, that's my next question. What would you say, or how would you tell people to run a successful Kickstarter?
That's a great question. So the thing about Kickstarter is people think it's like free money, right? You put it on Kickstarter and you're just going to get money. It just doesn't work that way. And lots of people see that. Hire someone to help you. There's people who will help you. Some pay, some not pay. Make sure you're on shows. Make sure you have a fan base before you launch. So tell people about your book. Find a Facebook group or an email list to kind of build that, because that's what makes the difference. And then be smart with variant covers, right? So I can pay a pro to do a variant cover. And you and I were kind of talking about this off air. I can pay a pro to do a variant cover, but that pro is probably not going to share that we did it. So I'm sure you've had interviews of people who are bigger names and they never shared it, so you didn't get the exposure that you get the same. Works the same thing with variant covers. So if you pay someone a lot of money and they don't share it, it doesn't matter because their audience never saw it, right? You had to target their audience and hopefully get it stuff. So it's better to find someone who you see does variant covers for people and shares it off. That's why Brian Silverback gets so many, because he tends to share it out when he does a cover. And stuff like that. So find someone who is going to share your stuff, because that takes a lot of the load off of you, because they're just as excited about the project as you are.
Okay. Let's see. Where are you going to any Comic-Cons here in Florida?
So I have not paid for a single one. I will be at MegaCon, of course. I'm going to be at Space Coast Comic Con in June. I'll be at MegaCon. Daytona Beach Comic Con I always go to, but I'm really behind. I haven't paid for any, not because I don't want to. I just haven't. This book that I just did, Granite State Punk, was really expensive so it kind of drained the account. But when the Kickstarter comes in, I'll have some more money and I'll be able to put some money down. It's expensive. Every time you do a con, you have to pay like 6 months in advance, like $300. Wow. So it weighs your money down really fast. Unfortunately, I'm not at the level where they'll invite me all the time. There's been times when I'm invited, but I'm not invited all the time. So I got to get to that and do it. It's the world is so crazy. It's neat who gets what cloud and who likes who, and it's all the stuff. But yeah, I'll be doing a whole bunch of Florida. I'm also going to try to get out of the state this year. I'm going to try to do one in New Hampshire, and I really want to go to Emerald City. Even if I don't have a table, I want to go just to smooze and hang out with people who are doing comics. It's one of my goals this year. I just haven't got around to it. The COVID spike scared me a little bit with the Omicron, but it seems to be coming back down. And the paper shortage is scary to me. As you work in the paper stuff, it's scary. I'm afraid to put new books out because I don't know when I'll be actually able to send them to people. And I'm used to being fast. I'm used to doing, your company and going and picking them up in 2 weeks, right? And now, now they're like 6 weeks out, and that's scary. I don't know how to do that.
Is there talks of going completely digital?
Some people talk about that. The problem is it came at the printing industry is very lucky. Comixology changed the way they do stuff at the end of the year. So it's really hard to get new books on Comixology. So it's really hard to go digital. And you don't make a lot on Comixology. I probably made a total of all my books on Comicsology. I probably made a total of like $60 total. Like, it's not a lot of money. It's just because you're competing with Marvel and DC and all these other stuff, and they just push you in the back. But it is super fun. I've met a fan who's a Comicsology fan at a con, and he's like, "Oh, I've read all your books." And I know most of my fans because of the Kickstarter. I was like, no, you haven't. Like, I know you haven't. I know my fans. And he's like, no, Comicsology, man. I was like, you're the guy.
Have you ever ran into a crazy fan?
I have a couple of times. Yeah, I've ran into fans who are super into your book and want to talk to you forever about the process. And I love my fans, but I'd rather you message me on Facebook and so I can choose when I interact with you, because it's really hard when I'm at a con and I paid this money to sell and you want to talk to me the whole time and other people can't come in and I can sell books to it. I appreciate all my fans. I appreciate all the stuff, because and what's cool about me too is I've got I got fans of different books, which is really cool. Like I got fans who are just Broke Down fans, and I'm like, hey, have you checked out Voodoo? They're like, nah, bro, no, I don't care about your Voodoo stuff. I want your crime, like more guns, more violence. I'm like, oh, all right, well.
It's cool though that you got books in a little bit of each genre.
Right. Yeah. No, it's really cool. I'm super proud of it. Are you going to go to any cons? You know, you don't go to a lot of cons, and I think you should. I know you got the newborn. How
Yeah,
old's the baby now? Almost a year, right?
a year and a half.
Year. That's crazy. That's
Wow.
crazy.
Time flies, don't it?
Yeah, I was thinking about my kid. My kid's 2, but really my kid's almost 3. He's 3 in April. So I was trying to figure out because I know it's about halfway through mine, but that's crazy.
Oh yeah. So when you go to a con,
Mm-hmm.
as a fan, do you promote your book or do you push your book at all, or you're just there for other people?
I bring I bring my books in my backpack, and I'll reach out to editors and stuff like that. I'll talk to them. It's a good chance to do that because when you're at a con selling, you can't really leave the table, right? Every time I leave the table, it's a potential sale that I'm losing. So when I go to those, my target is really editors going to like a Source Point or Scout and going, hey, here's some of my books. Here's my resume. Here's how much I've raised on Kickstarter. If you like any of this stuff, I'd love to talk to you about working on a project, So that's been really good. So when I do that, and then I'm a fan too. I mean, you know it, like this. These are, I just had a show, and these are all the books that I bought from the show of all indie books. I love David Byrne's Steak. I have a friggin' box of Steak, right? Like all the Steak comics.
Yeah.
I'm a super fan of these guys' stuff. So it's not just about me. I do like to hang out with them and do stuff. But yeah, I always bring stuff to sell, in case someone recognizes me or someone knows me. Because I have fans all over. I realized the other day I have a huge fan base in Michigan area. Like when I'm sending out Kickstarters, I send a lot to Michigan. So I'm gonna have to do a con in Michigan because I apparently really speak to that audience out there. So
That's pretty cool. The Michigan. It's kind of random though.
Yeah, no, I ship probably about 10% of my orders to Michigan. Like I don't know why. Obviously 20% or so in Florida.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's low. My 20% in Florida. I think it's just because I do so many store signings in Florida that they don't. They don't buy it on the Kickstarter because they know they'll see me at either a con or they'll see me at a show. And then New Hampshire is really big for me, but I'm from New Hampshire, so that kind of makes sense, right? So,
Yeah.
And they're not really my friends from high school, but I think my friends from high school talk about it, and I get the super fans from there. So I've got a few over there.
All right. Well, before we go, who should we keep our eye on that's up and coming?
Ooh, all right. So there's a book called Hocus Pocus on Kickstarter right now. It is probably the best book I've read all year. It is so good. No, Pocus Hocus. Sorry, it's opposite what it normally is. It's Pocus Hocus. I'm trying to get the names for you. It's Alan something. I can't think of his last name. But he does an amazing book. Highly recommend it. If you're not reading it or you're not following this guy, he's gonna make it because this book is so good. I mean, I expected nothing with it being called Pocus Hocus. I expected zero. But then when I read it, it was so good that blew my mind. Jonathan Smith, he does a lot of stuff. He has a new book called Thistleheart, which is really good. I highly recommend that. Alan and Will. Let me try to see their last name. So it's Alan Dunford and Will Ratford. Highly recommend their book. Very, very good. And then Thistleheart, always read his stuff. Jonathan Smith. He does some really cool stuff. Who else? I'm trying to look at who I'm backing right now. Who's not on the mainstream talking about stuff. I think those are the two people who I think you should watch. And if you're not a fan of Caleb, I can't say his last name. Caleb Palmquist. I'll have to ask him to say his name. But he does Unicorn Vampire Hunters and Vampire Detective in Space. Really good guy. I know that he has some publishing deals that I can't blow up his spot, but I know next year you're going to see him in comic stores a lot. So if you see him on Kickstarter, back his stuff.
All right. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
No, just thanks for having me on. Oh, I did the hearts. It's nice.
Yeah.
I hope everyone saw that. Thanks for having me on. As always, I love support the Comic Chat Authority. Thank you for my certificate. It's hung up over here, but it's in a frame, so I don't know how to get it down for you. Because I like hard cemented it in, and my laptop's on this weird thing, so I'd have to pull it off and all sorts of cool stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for doing that, and I look forward to killing people this year in my numbers. So I'm coming after you guys. You know, I'm gonna be on that list, top 25 every year. I'm gonna keep giving stuff to Cody to make sure that I beat you. So you guys are gonna have to try harder to beat me. I'm just saying.
All right. Thank you, Travis.
No problem.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comic Chat Authority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.